Hello, everyone. A very good evening to you. Welcome to the weekly video sessions recording for you. Okay, so as usual, we're going to discuss the market performance. We're going to look at STI and then see what are the sectors that are pushing the STI higher, and then which are the sectors that are lagging or waiting for the next movement. Okay, so without further ado, let's take a look at the charts over here. Okay, so let me just have the screen for you on the charts. So what do we have here right now on the screen? We have the STI index chart. As you can see, STI is right now holding to its resistance level at around 3116. And from each day candle patterns, you can see that if I were to connect the lows together, the STI in fact are forming higher lows subtly each day. So if STI can break out from its resistance eventually, then we may see more upside with the next resistance at around 3142. Then if I were to zoom out further to explain to you the resistance, so you can see why 3142, this was the previous support turn resistance, and the major resistance in fact now lies on this level around 3236. This is a major resistance which was tested in the year 2020 two times. Okay, so when STI continue to go higher, then we can see that the index can hit this resistance. Now, if you realize the market is rotating, the sectors are rotating to push the index higher. For example, today we see weakness in the bank, but we see strength in the transport sectors. So let me just go through the chart with you. Let's start with the DBS chart. So if you look at DBS, we have DBS having a resistance at around 2904 and the support over here at around 2780. So DBS managed to hold and trade above 2780. So this may form a minor support going forward. So we do see that these two candles represent the past 2 days we have weaknesses in DBS. So we represent weaknesses in DBS where DBS opened higher and closed lower. So this tells us that the sellers are more inclined to sell the shares rather than hold on to the share. But the good thing is, like I say, 2780 hasn't been compromised, so therefore forming a small support over here. But this is not the major support as of now. So what we are looking out for DBS to continue to consolidate above this line to form a solid support. Then once it start to rebound from this low, then we can see it continue to move up to test its resistance at 29.04. Okay, let's move to OCBC. So OCBC has a low at 11.52 and a resistance at 11.82. So we can see that this 11.52 is not really a support because it doesn't have a U shape, but rather just a test and a rebound. But in the longer run, we can see OCBC actually forming a big huge bullish flag where it is consolidating over here, pending for a breakout. So if the bank weakness continue to persist, we can continue to see more consolidation going on before it breaks out further. So for the time being, just wait for the better entry into the bank. Now, same for UOB. We can see even a clearer weakness over here. As you can see, for the past few days consecutive of black candles, we can see resistance at 25.99, and we have a low at around 25.16. So as usual, you can see comparing from DBS to UOB, a higher opening and a lower closing. So these black candles represent uncertainties, especially UOB has upper and lower shadow. So the buyers and sellers are actually fighting to take control over the stocks. So none is in control right now. So what we are looking forward for is a strong call to action where solid white candles or a series of consolidation going forward to give us a clearer entry into the stocks. Okay, so some may want to consider these stocks when it tests support level where the support zone is around 25.16 to 25.31 to accumulate some at this point. And if it doesn't turn out to be a good support, if it drops further, then look for lower consolidation. Of course, by doing so, you got to allocate your capital properly and then buy in batches. So the next strong support will be around 24.15, where the previous resistance was. Okay, so now let's take a look at the strongest sectors today. The transport sectors is the strongest today, where SIA led the breakout. So it has broken out from its resistance at 541 to rally all the way up. Look at the volume is high, and then we can see that it tests the high of 574. And why 574? You can see that 574 or 575 was the previous resistance created in 2019, and this acts as a resistance for SIA in the present day. So can SIA continue go higher? Well, I think that we can expect this kind of consolidation again going forward. Maybe 1 or 2 day of white candle where we see it breaks up from 575, and the next resistance will be around 580, 589. So once it tests 589, you can watch out for the next wave of consolidation, and then this will be your next entry. Same for sets. We have sets strongly, or rather it moved up strongly today, and it moved to test its resistance. So for those who have been following my email, last Monday, I've actually posted sets, and we see sets going up strongly, testing resistance with high volume. So if sets is able to break out immediately, we are looking at the next level around 460. Okay, and if 460 can be compromised, if sets still have the strength, it would fill up this gap at around 483. Now, of course, the best scenario is sets breaking out immediately and then hit 483. But if it can't break out immediately, it may start to consolidate over here before another breakout. So if you consolidate over here, you can see that sets form an ascending triangle pattern, for example, and the projections will bring us to this 483 level as well. So it will be a convincing upward movement if we start to consolidate and move higher. Okay, so let's watch out for sets, the next movement from sets before we take any action. So for those who are vested in sets, probably you can continue to hold. I can see that the trend is still healthy, where you are having a higher low. The next higher high is potentially coming. If it's not coming as yet, like I say, it can consolidate and then break out later. SIA Engineering, strong upward movement today, where you see it breaks above its two strong resistance. And with this breakout happening, we can see that SIA Engineering has a very strong conviction for the next uptrend, where the next resistance to watch is 2.29. Okay, so why do I say that? It's because you realize that in the bigger picture, SIA Engineering was on a huge sideways here. So this is a huge base for this counter. And if you were to look, right, and just to go to the weekly chart, we have the counter having a very nice right, triple bottom formation, or if you want to look at a double bottom formation as well. Okay, so you can see that this counter can move up back into uptrend, and the resistance to watch is 2.29 towards 2.49, or even better, back to 2.61. So if we can see the trend continuing, of course, it's not going to be one smooth ride. We are expecting some pullbacks along the way before it continue to move higher. So the high for SIA to hit is actually around this level, about 280. So if the trend were to continue, of course, what brings the good news is that the market is expecting the more flight to resume, and then of course SI engineering to get more service contract to service the plane, where those planes that had not been flying will start to have servicing. So SI engineering will benefit from there. Okay, so especially more and more people are vaccinated. Countries are looking at welcoming those people had been vaccinated to visit their country freely. Okay, so this would help SI engineering. Of course, ST engineering will benefit from that as well. Here say there's a rumor that there could be a possible merger between ST and SIA engineering, but I'm not sure how true it is. I'm just sharing what I heard, but don't quote me for that. What I'm looking at is ST engineering rebounded from its support level over here, and today closed at least a white candle. So the resistance is at 3.96. So if this one white soldier pattern were to continue, then we can see ST engineering test its major resistance at 3.96, and a breakout from there will probably see ST engineering continue higher to around 409 level. Okay, so let's see whether ST engineering can continue from this low. Of course, from this low, looks like a trading opportunity for us to get into these stocks before it hit into this resistance at 3.96. Now, let's take a look at the tech counters. Remember last week in my email, I did post UMS, and one white soldier was the signal. So this is the one white soldier pattern. And then what we are looking for is a confirmation. Well, UMS did not really form a nice white candle, but being excited with these signals, I actually went in at 1.11. I added some position there, and then we can see that UMS having a gap over here. This is where my target is for UMS to fill up the gap. So far, the gap has been filled up partially, and there are more to go. So today we have a strong closing, right? Just now I was studying the chart, and then I was doing a recording, and then I was telling the other side of the member that this counter probably is not going to go higher, because I was looking at the chart at 4:20 p.m. But it surprised me after I finished recording. Suddenly the Q just flipped. It went 1.19, 1.20. So this gives me optimism that UMS can continue higher to potentially hit 1.24. Okay, so if we hit 1.24, it'll be good. But the story is not the same for Franken. No doubt higher closing, but this is a second doji. We call this as a double doji, and of course, a double doji may spell some weakness going forward. You can see here, right? So let me just highlight again. So if you see a black candle tomorrow, there might be some pullback coming for this Franken, but it may not be all bad. You can see the double doji over here. It managed to hold at that support level and then rebound. So Franken, we got to watch further how it goes. Then we have AEM. AEM today, there's some selling, but towards the closing, it managed to fight back and then close higher. So we can look at the UMS, rather AEM. I beg your pardon, AEM is still trading at the low, rebounding. Now, don't be too worried about AEM, because overall the stocks is still holding at support level. You can see, look at the indicator, we have the MA supporting this counter very well. Even if we were to pull back, it may hold at this support level and rebound and form a nice double bottom. And if we were to do so, then we can see AEM continue higher, break up from its 20 and 50-day MA, pierce above it, then 422 may be the target. Okay, so the MACD is still looking good. So what we are looking for is a strong sign that this counter can form going forward to go higher. So let's look out for this sign going forward. Now, Nano firm disappointing, because it didn't manage to rebound from the support levels, and now it's consolidating at the support level. with the volume declining as it consolidate over there, it can tell us the next potential movement is coming. So what we want to see is going forward, nano firm to trade and then hit and close at this level at 489, then this will tells us a stronger signal that it may eventually go up to hit 508 level. Okay, so if failure to do so, of course, downtrend will continue, and then the support level over here becomes very important. Once it breaks down, all hell breaks loose, and then we may see a more downward movement for this counter towards $4 range. Okay, 430 or rather 422 is the next crucial support for this counter. 424, I beg your pardon. Okay, so let's see where the counter can move going forward. And let's look at the financial property sectors. So we have CapitaLand. So CapitaLand, as I posted in the email, about the breakout at 1.16, which it has done so as it continue go higher. So this is where we see consolidation going on. So today we have a nice closing, and if this consolidation leads to a breakout, so this consolidation still look okay and may lead to a positive breakout. So if we break out, then we may see CapitaLand retest this 3.36 level or even higher, fill up the gap at 3.38. And if the uptrend can continue, then we can see a 3.59 get tested. City development, we have a resistance at 761. It seems to be struggling like CapitaLand struggling to go higher, but today provides a glimmer of hope. And going forward, we really want to see this counter hit 7.61. And eventually, if we were to break above this 7.61, clear 7.67, then we can see this counter capture the 7.75 level. Okay, so going forward for the property sectors, we really need to see more buying actions coming in. UOL is still slipping, consolidating at this low. Now, if we were to see UOL break up and then move up to test resistance, of course, this will form a nice bottom action, and this counter may eventually even hit 795, but it has to wake up first. It got to go to 763 first. Hong Kong land, as I covered last week, we have the expectation for Hong Kong land to be around 520 something, and then it went as high as 550.45, and then this is where you see a huge uncertain candles. It usually done so that's why I realized my profit finally. So I've been holding Hong Kong land since $4 plus 4.05 was my entry, and then you can see the long upper shadow that leads to selling. So next, going forward, what do you expect for Hong Kong land is to continue to consolidate and form a base over here. This is where you can start to look for an entry, and then when you start to move off, then it is potentially testing 545, right? And then break out further. So just to recap, now let's look at how Hong Kong land will move if it really consolidate. So first of all, you go like this, then you move and then move somewhere to this high. Okay, so you can see that my this cursor didn't move. Okay, the length is the same, so you can see Hong Kong land move to somewhere near the high. So I'll just move off again. You can see Hong Kong land come to this again. So if it really repeat itself again, can you go back to $6? Okay, so of course I'm watching this counter going forward, how it pans out to be. So if it pan out not to be positive, it may form a topish and then break support, topish pattern and break support. Then this is where we can forget about this counter. Okay, now I have covered most of the sectors, the counters. So if just in case if I have not covered anything, okay, feel free to WhatsApp me, and then I will cover this counter going forward. Okay, so Lastly, before I end the sessions, I'm going to talk about this fortress mineral. I put it in my email some time back, and then some of my clients are still remembering it and then monitoring this counter. And then today start to message you, hey, fortress minerals start to move off. So as you can see, this is the chart right now. So I promised an analysis for them. So let's take a look at this counter here. So you can see there's a resistance at 3.5. Now, if you study how fortress move in the past, probably it's going to repeat itself again. So you can see that sometimes after the breakout, look at the volume, extremely high. The next 2 days goes into sleeping mode before it break out, then struggle at the high again, then pull back, then go up again. So will this repeat itself again? So the first candle already formed. So over here, okay, look at the trading volume. Okay, so here, look at the trading volume. So do we expect some pullback tomorrow, some small action, then before it gap up and continue higher? Of course, I will hope that this would happen. And if this happen, then the target, the projected target is around 41 cents. Okay, so how do I do the projection? Basically, very simple. Just take the differences over here and then just place at the point where it's supposed to break up around here. Okay, in fact, it's here, right? So here we can see 3.5. So if we break up from 3.5, then the target will be at around 41 cents. Okay, so this comes an end to my recording sessions for you. Feel free to forward to your friend, and if any of your friend interested to open an account with me, feel free to introduce them, and then I'll be happy to help. Okay, so with this, I'll end my video. Have a good week ahead, and good rest, and good luck to all of us.